I'm Carrington McDuffie. This is Starseeds of Freedom, the podcast where we discuss how to claim your freedom in a system designed to enslave you. And today I have someone with me to go over some of that in the financial sector and a few other areas as well. Before we get going, I did want to say it's been a rugged couple of days for a lot of people. We lost someone who meant a great deal to a lot of us and who was, well, we supposedly have free speech in this country, but there are some people who think that you should kill someone for speaking out, saying what they want to say. So I think that's the point. That's the point I'm really looking at. But there are a lot of points to look at. I'm just expressing my condolences to his family and my feeling of what I want the United States to actually be, what it was designed to be. We're not there yet. We're still working on it. So today, though, I have with me Jim Willie, who a lot of you know. I know that you know him, but I will say in any case that he's a lot of things: a financial analyst, a geopolitical analyst, a mathematician, a statistician, and he's also the editor on his website, golden-jackass.com, where you can go to sign up for his newsletter, which I highly recommend. You'll find yourself well informed if you do that. You can also schedule a consult with the man himself one-on-one, another really awesome thing to do. And there's a sponsor button. So if you'd like to support his work, he's a guy who offers a lot of analysis out here on the airwaves for free. And it's always great to support those whose work we take advantage of. So I'll bring him on now. We're glad to have him with us today. Jim, howdy and welcome to the show.
Oh, howdy. Oh, that's a good Texas welcome. Howdy.
Yeah, howdy.
How y'all doing?
Yeah.
I'm doing reasonably well. Today is 9/11 and we've got a shock, a murder. I want to say that I've watched several, I don't know how many, a dozen of Charlie Kirk's shows, stage appearances, and he's a real defender of freedom. He's a defender of true democracy, not the bullshit democracy that we have shoved down our throats. He really could think quick on his feet.
Yeah.
He stood up to challenges on the democracy issue, on Christian issues, on university support and funding issues. And I really admire the guy. I was usually smiling when I was watching him. And
yeah,
I'm going to just tell you what I think is going on. Isn't it interesting that he was killed shortly after very harsh criticism of Sharia law?
Yep.
Okay, my opinion, I'm entitled to an opinion. I think Obama is behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he pulled some levers in the FBI or Langley and got a hitman, and they'll probably find a patsy who was not responsible, because I think it was a professional hit, and
Clearly it was professional. Yeah.
Professionals don't get caught.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
okay.
there was a gun supposedly they found in the woods nearby. I'm sure, the
Oh,
guy dropped it as he ran.
With his passport attached to it.
Yeah.
With a twisty tie.
So it was a shot-made high-powered rifle at 219
Okay.
yards. I happen to know that is a difficult shot to make.
How many yards?
219 is what I last heard from that
I
rooftop.
I thought it was a close-up. Okay, I thought it was a close-up, like front row. All right, so this is, again, a sniper, which lends more credence to a professional hit.
Yeah, it was definitely professional. He was wearing body armor. Apparently it hit the heart. So it was so professional, and the bullet shattered and part of it went up to his neck, and that's how you saw, that's why you saw that. So, but anyway, 219 yards.
A high velocity shot. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I'm very sad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Condolences to the family, but let's continue where Charlie Kirk would want us to continue.
Exactly.
I have my opinion, Carrie. I believe that Trump's victory in November was not the final battle. It's almost like it's not even an intermediate battle. It's an early battle, and we've got many more battles. I believe that in 3 years, in the last year of the Trump administration here, I think we're going to still be battling the deep state. They're
Oh, yeah.
extremely well rooted.
Yes. This
And
was a signal of that, I would say.
we've got an enemy, and I believe this enemy is behind some of the occult forces that are attacking me. It's the Rockefellers. That is our remaining enemy. We've got a lot of cleanup to do. We've accomplished a lot. The arrests have been far more, 10 times of what we hear. But the Rockefellers have their mitts, their grip on the energy sector, the medical sector, the pharmaceutical sector, and the food processing sector. And many people don't understand that they've branched out. Pharmaceutical companies are so wealthy that they did acquisitions in food processing. So they're administering toxins in the food. I think the Rockefellers are involved in the chemtrails. Pardon my glasses. I can't read real well. I just when I
Okay.
turned 70, when I turned 72 and a half or so last fall, I just couldn't read the fine print no more. I can see you and your lovely face, but I can read distant signs. But okay, this is me unobstructed. The Rockefellers are going to be very, very difficult to tame, to strip of their wealth, to strip of their power, to even expose them. I think Robert Kennedy and Trump have each cut deals with the Rockefellers regarding the vaccines. We've seen extremely little progress against the vaccines.
They have started to speak out against them, though. They both
They're
have.
still legal. I know. They've removed the emergency usage authorization. They've come down against the Food and Drug Administration, which is really a revolving door of big pharma.
Yeah.
They've come down on the CDC, which is again a revolving door of big pharma, which means the Rockefellers control it. One of the biggest problems right now is the American Medical Association, which is run by a Nazi, like a Nazi military establishment. The doctors don't even have latitude on what they can do. They got to follow the standard of care.
Yeah.
If they deviate, they lose their licenses.
Yeah.
If they recommend something natural, even ivermectin, they lose their licenses. I just had a consult with a Canadian, and he said that there's a doctor in Alberta who's being kicked out because he's curing cancer.
Well, Canada, I think it's even worse.
But
So
Alberta is a
I'm
haven.
hearing, well, and
Haven.
Alberta is talking about joining the United States. Have you
I
seen
know.
that? Have you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Alberta and Saskatchewan, and they're two resource and mineral rich provinces.
Yes, and the vote doesn't go the way they want. I don't know. I just saw an article about that the other
I,
day, but we're not
I,
going to do
that
a
would be
Canada
wild.
thing today. So,
No, we're not going to do a Canada thing, but
yeah.
remember about 4 or 5 months ago, Carney and the fake, the fake King Charles, the
Yes.
fake, yeah, okay, no, it's close, but it's not the same guy.
No.
He admitted that
No.
all of Canada is squatting on Native American tribal land.
Right?
You know, many people didn't think the same conclusion that I did. It means Alberta and Saskatchewan can join the United States.
Yes.
Okay,
There have been hints about that. I've been watching that. We could
I know,
use those.
but
Sorry,
it's
go
the
ahead.
legal pathway. It's the legal pathway.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
needed a legal pathway, and King Charles gave it. So this is like, okay, there's a lot going on,
Yeah, that popped out about maybe a month ago. I saw that. I was like, wow, that it was just one
and
little item in the news, and whoa.
this same Canadian said to me, "Do you think he'll try to annex British Columbia?" And I said, "No, it's a Chinese colony. British Columbia is lost.
Yeah, I
They
know.
have a long way
I
to
know
go."
Vancouver. Okay,
Oh, Vancouver.
yeah, Vancouver. That's a
Oh,
conversation we
and
need to
he,
have offline, but yeah.
yeah, okay. Let me just say a final thing. He
Yeah.
said, "Jim, there are about 20 or 30 different cities in British Columbia that are overrun by illegal. No, he thinks illegal immigrants, but they're
Hmm.
from India.
Oh,
They're
Canada's
they're
having a terrible
everywhere.
problem with immigration from India. India. Yeah, that's a
I
big
think
deal.
I think Obama facilitated some of that. I think they worked together. Anyway, all right.
Yeah,
So that's the national scene. We got a long way to go.
yeah.
Um, I think Trump won another Supreme Court decision. I think it was yesterday or today. They backed up Trump and said that he had the authority to. I don't know exactly what it was to take control of some steps regarding removing the illegal immigrants and we really need to get rid of about 100 Biden and Obama judges. And I think it's going to be, again, in 2027, we're going to be having the same conversation.
I
We
know.
need we need to get
Well,
rid of the Obama and Biden judges.
I think
What
we
we
will be making progress, but it will still need to be done.
do you think that they're going to Trump will work to declare the Obama administrations, both of them, as illegitimate,
I don't
and
know that.
Biden as a dead man?
I,
So
I
another
don't know, but
illegitimate.
the auto pen is an interesting avenue. I don't know. Is
I
that,
know that's interesting. I'm talking about making illegitimate the entire administration
well, if they're
to
found
remove the
guilty of
judges.
right,
To
right.
remove the judges.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Well, it depends if Obama's found guilty. Boy, this show is never going to make it on YouTube. And if Biden is declared, not just non-compos mentis, but gone, then it's
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
there's his
interesting.
headstone in Arlington Cemetery,
Hmm.
2018. All right, so there's a lot going on.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And the battles are fast and furious and frequent. Um, these are not going to go away. A year from now, we're going to have again more battles. We have to fight to restore our republic.
Exactly, and that's
And
what Charlie Kirk was trying to do,
yeah, and
among
these
other
idiots
things.
say we want to defend the democracy. Well, I don't see democracy. The Democratic Party is Marxist. They're cultural Marxist and actual Marxist and very much aligned in secrecy with the Chinese Communist Party.
For
We
sure.
need to get a grip on what the hell the United States has become.
Yeah, we want it to be the republic it was designed to be, and I think it's dangerous to call it a democracy, which is what all our founding fathers warned against. So I don't even like
Uh,
to do that.
yeah, that's a whole separate issue.
Yes, it's a big deal
I
though,
don't
because it always turns
I
to
know.
socialism. But okay, so we
I
also
know.
wanted to talk about silver, didn't we? Because we have
Yeah.
there's a big feel good portion to this show,
The
right?
feel good is that silver is breaking out. Now, I have one particular really smart colleague. There are only six others of us. There's seven of us. There used to be 10, but we booted out London Paul because he was MI6, and I think he was directly involved in the murder of Rob Kirby. Okay, I mean that very sincerely.
Hmm.
So if London Paul, if you're watching this, I think you're involved with the death of Rob Kirby. Um, and another one of our colleagues died 4 years ago, and very sad, um, heart attack. But I've got one really smart colleague, and he follows the gold and silver market very closely, uses Chat GPT frequently, uh, outlines scenarios for breakdown, multi-stage breakdown. And I laid that out, I think it was in May or June or so, maybe April. Um, and what he concluded, and I think this is a really valid point. A year ago, the line of defense was 30, and we broke it. So they moved the fence back and made the line of defense 35
Yeah.
several months ago. And when we started attacking that, and gold continued to go up, and war uh, pushed demand for gold, and the US government debt and its unfixable situation pushed more money into gold. They moved the fence back to 35 for silver, and recently they moved it to 40, and we've broken 40, so I think they moved the fence to 45.
I think you're right.
Okay, so my point is that if you follow my forecast from several months ago, I was saying that by September and October we'd be pushing 50, and we're not. We're not
Yeah. Yeah.
because we didn't break the fence jump the fence and find open country.
No,
We
it's the open.
found
Yeah,
we found a fence that had been moved back $5.
yeah, yeah.
So
So we jumped the
I
fence, but there was no open country.
at by Christmas we'll be fighting 45.
Yeah.
By March we'll be fighting 50. This is not going to get out of control. We're not going to see my Fibonacci sequence. 10, 20, 30, 50, 80, 130. We're not
Hmm.
going to see that.
Hmm.
Not for a while. But there are a lot of factors that are in favor of silver. The demand is just going up, 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 up. It's solar, it's military, and I believe the military, U.S. military, is in collusion with Wall Street to assure that we don't lose control of the silver price. The military is keeping the silver price down. They need it,
They
and
need
I
it.
believe they're building a stockpile, and they're competing with China for that stockpile. Okay, at the same time,
Mm.
at the same time, supply is going down. We've got a widening industrial deficit.
Yeah.
Solar and military, and it's also just basic electronic. A lot of demand, a lot of demand. And, this supply, not enough attention is being given to Mexico. And I'm very bothered by some of the analysts out there. They're talking a lot about the demand. And they make a good point that we're not seeing any major silver mine discoveries.
Yeah.
But they're not talking about Mexico. Mexico is practically blocking exports of silver.
Okay. Didn't they shut down their mines in Mexico? Or is it really
I,
about the blocking of the exports or both?
I think what they're doing is they're limiting the mining inside the country, and they're severely limiting foreign direct investment, which has resulted in partial shutdowns of some of the mines.
Hmm.
I mean, if a big company has 6 mines, they might shut down 2. They're not shutting down all of them, they're shutting down a couple. It's because of, okay, Canada used to be the biggest foreign direct investor into Mexico, and they're down over 60%. It's many billions. Okay, but Mexico has become a communist nation without the name, without the label. And they're permitting, this is not new. They've been doing it for a year. They're permitting exports of silver concentrate and gold concentrate to China.
China. Yeah.
And so's Ecuador, and
Yeah.
so's Chile.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
and this
yeah.
is not good. This means that the Latino silver production is basically hoarded or directed and funneled to China.
Well,
It
yeah.
mean it means that we're going to see a real supply shock in New York for silver. Okay, what they're doing, okay, this is really complex, and I can't make this really simple in a short period, but they're trying to squelch demand by telling the public that there's no supply. Well, if there's no supply, we should be rocketing in price.
Yeah.
The public is not catching on very well that the lower supply should be going hand in hand with fast rising price, and it's not. It's not, because I think the military is hoarding the supply in the United States.
Hmm.
They're cutting back on the U.S. mint output, and that is against its charter. It is not legal, and Trump is not doing anything about that.
Hmm.
He could say ramp it up, buy silver at whatever price. Okay, Mexico is the problem. They're the largest producer on earth. They're like more than 3 times the production of Russia.
Yeah.
And Poland is equal to Russia in silver output. That was a shock to me.
I didn't know that.
Just a weird fact of the silver world.
Yeah. Huh.
If you combine all the Andean countries of Ecuador, Chile, Peru, and even Argentina, there's a large swath of I guess it's Western Argentina, and combine that with Mexico, they've got close to 60% of global silver output, and China is getting it.
And is that to do with the Belt and Road Initiative, how active it is in that part of the world?
I don't think so.
Uh-huh.
I think it's just Mexico has been the intermediary for those other Latino countries.
Mhm.
Mexico is the problem, and the United States is now at war with Mexico. It's
Mhm.
becoming wider recognized as being at war with Mexico.
With the
We've got
Mexican cartels.
it's the cartel versus the Immigration Control Enforcement (ICE). Um,
Yeah.
does the C? I think the C stands for control. I'm not sure. ICE. It's the border.
Hmm.
The border patrol is really a military. They're military trained. They look like military. They act like
They
military. They
have to
fight like
be.
military. They have
Yeah.
to be.
They
They
have
have
to.
to be. And there are a lot of little victories that we've had against the cartel. But now Scheinbaum has shown her cards. She said, we need to cooperate more with the cartel because
Yeah.
we're being attacked. Who's we, white man?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I ask.
That's a Jewish
Scheinbaum,
name, isn't it?
Sch-
Okay,
um,
whatever.
oh, I don't want to get into all that.
I know. I can let it pass, but
Yeah, I
yeah.
know. We can't criticize that, or else we might get fined,
Mm-hmm.
um, or shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so silver, it has a long way to go. Okay, I like to make a comparison, Carrie. I say we got 10 to 15, maybe 20% coming for silver. 20% here is $8. Okay, that's like going to $50. We're at 41 plus right now. That's like going to, okay, so 10, 15, 20% is a really good opportunity for silver with all the military demand. The missiles regarded guidance systems require silver. Silver panels, photovoltaic. India is going crazy with their solar farms. They got areas that have it's funny. They got areas that have sun and over 100 degrees for 330 days a year. Okay,
Yeah.
that's how hot and sunny India. Okay, it's a perfect locale for solar, but I don't think solar is a long-term
I
solution.
think it's stupid, but
Well,
yeah.
we need
Tesla figured it
something.
all out 100 years ago. It's just no excuse.
Maybe so, but right now we're not ready, and we're not in a position to roll out the free energy and the 0 point energy, the ZPEs. This is coming. And the underground cities and communities that were revealed by Trump several months ago, they all had 0 point energy,
Yes.
and it ain't solar, it's underground.
Yes. Yes. I think we're more ready than rumors would dictate,
Uh,
but
We're not politically
I can't.
ready.
Yeah, well, that's for sure.
We were ready 10
Okay.
years ago,
So,
but we're
yes.
not politically ready. All
Right,
right,
we're
here's
not.
my
Okay.
joke. Here's my joke.
All
It's a
right.
segue. It's a segue you'll like.
Okay.
We've got 10, 15, 20% gains coming for silver that look easy and in the bag. We got 10, 15, and 20x gains ready for XRP.
Hmm.
Now, 10x is 1,000%. Compare that to 10% with silver, it's 100 times more. We've
Yeah.
got gains coming in XRP that are going to be like doubling. Doubling would be $6. It's $3 now. 10x would be 300, and that is not a ridiculous claim.
No.
If you look at some of the alignment, it's like, I'm not an astrologist, but I love the phrase that the stars are aligned. Everything is aligned. The pathways, I like to think of it as pathways. We've got 7 different pathways, and they're all aligned toward $30 and $100 XRP prices. We've got spot XRP exchange traded funds coming. They can't stop this.
No.
We've got Swift, and Swift is going to be relegated to running memos. I love this. I love this. They're going
Which
to
is
be
kind of
doing
what they
memo.
do anyway,
Well,
in email relays. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, but they goof it up. They make errors.
hmm.
I've only had one error in all of my Swift uh, transactions, and it was about 7 years ago, where one particular name wasn't spelled correctly, like a missing E,
Hmm.
in a last name, a surname. Okay, but Swift is going to use XRP, and some of the attacks that you see online from Swift employees, they're just they're just dumbasses. They're going to be partnering with XRP. They're going to be handing the data to XRP to Ripple, and then Ripple will say, okay, we'll do the transaction. Boom, 2 seconds, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
It's not 2 hours, it's not 2 days, it's 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is where XRP has a huge advantage. And if it's a big, what do you call it? If it's a big transaction for which the two parties are not accustomed, it's not going to be a hairball, not going to be a jam.
Yeah.
The on-demand liquidity is going to just fly right through. It's like, oh, I don't want to make any, I don't like to make a whole lot of analogies, but if a bank is accustomed to their largest transactions almost every day between $1 and $8 million, and suddenly they got a $74 million transaction, they're not going to have a problem.
Yeah.
They're not going to have problems with setting up the escrow accounts for the Vostro over there and the Nostro over here.
Yes. I
The
think,
corresponding banks.
and that money can be reclaimed, right, from the Nostro Vostro. So that's
They're saying that it's going to be like 10 to 15 trillion in capital that gets freed up in the banking system. I think it's a low figure.
mm-hmm.
That is why XRP is going to rule the day. There are several categories. There are like 6 or 8 different sectors. Okay, XRP is competing in retail. They're competing in cross-border. They're competing in like treasury accounts for corporations. They're competing in cross-border. They're competing in SWIFT. They're competing in other things that I'm not really well familiar with.
Right. We
And
got that news.
and they're going to win. They're going to win almost every single one. And with cross-border, I think they're going to get like 80% because that's what it was designed for.
Yep. They talk
Okay.
about Garlinghouse has 14%, but we know it's going to be a lot higher,
For
right?
SWIFT.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but I think it was something like 13% they promised for HBAR.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's not going to be 100. No, I'd be
Right. And
so.
there need to be more than one. There needs to be more than.
They're going to be about 3 or 4, I hear.
Yeah.
They don't want a single point of failure. So,
Yeah.
HBAR and XRP are going to rule.
Mm-hmm. I'm hearing Solana, Chainlink be
Solana,
in there.
yeah, maybe XLM would be involved in there
Uh-huh.
where it's not a cross-border,
Right.
a SWIFT domestic.
Right.
Well, it's not SWIFT, but it's central bank. Okay, it's
Mm-hmm.
like it gets very
Right.
complicated
Right.
in the
Because
terminology. The central bank is involved in all transfers internal to the United States, like New York to Florida, Texas to Minnesota, California to Chicago. It's through the central bank. What Ripple has done is they've cozied up and made good connection. They call it connecting to the rails. And there's a lot of terminology, and some of it's new to me, and I'm not really in command of it all, but I understand the basic concepts. The central banks are getting aligned in the Ripple ecosystem. The ecosystem just means, the blockchain for the accounting, the RLUSD for the stable coins, the ocean of liquidity, and XRP for the actual transfers. What I have learned recently, Carrie, that's wonderful about XRP is that there are a lot of offices. I call them offices and rooms. And they're not going to be using door to door the Ripple ecosystem, but they're going to be using the XRP transfer for the final transfer. It's like XRP is going to have 100% of the Ripple ecosystem business, and
right.
XRP is going to have like 60 to 80% of the transfer
The
business.
settlement, the
The
actual.
settlement,
Yeah.
the bridge asset settlement to get it done from A to B, whether it crosses a border or not.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I
Right.
thought before that it had to be within the Ripple ecosystem. It doesn't. It doesn't.
And we just found out also about, I'm sure you were probably going to touch on this, but what's going on with the integration with, NASDAQ, what they're deciding, and the DTCC. That's,
Yeah. That got a groan,
whoa.
a groan yesterday for me. This is 50 trillion a year. They're saying that it's several trillion a day in trading volume. And I thought that there would be a lot of XDC uh, transactions for stock, fulfilling, what do you call it, clearing the stock transaction. And they're talking about T+1 going away, which means the transaction is settled the next day, time plus 1 day. No,
Yes.
T+1. They're now
Yes.
talking about they're going to try to make it like minutes.
Yeah.
And 24 by 5, not 7, 24-hour by 5 days a week. Here's the irony. I look for irony because I love to laugh. I like the humor that's wrapped within corruption humor. FangMad. Okay. Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla. They're all in NASDAQ. Every one of them is NASDAQ, not the New York Stock Exchange.
Right.
Every one of them is involved in money laundering from Langley and Switzerland to beef them up into the multi-billions and make a captain out of their CEOs. Every one of them. Even Netflix. I thought, well, Netflix is just for movies. Yeah, but it's movies with a cabal theme now. They don't make, lovely family Christian movies. Okay, they don't.
Mm-mm.
All right. So we got Langley now going to run transactions in the billions through XRP.
I know.
I just
Unbelievable.
I think it's going to be funny. I don't see any day soon where Trump is going to identify the FangMat. They're also called the Magnificent Seven.
Right.
FangMat. I like FangMat because you can figure it out. FANGMAT. There's a hyphen in there because they used to be the Fangs. And then they had so much narcotics money laundering funds that it was too much for the Fangs. They needed to bring in more. So they brought in Microsoft, Amazon, and made a billionaire out of Jeff Bezos. And he becomes a very obedient political tool. Oh my gosh. The one that doesn't fit is Tesla. It doesn't fit. I know it's SpaceX. I know it's got Twitter. I know it's got Elon Musk. And I think Elon Musk is two people and the old guy is
Oh, I don't think we've seen the old guy in a long time.
the old guy is gone or
I don't know where he went.
I heard, Terry, I just got to share this. I heard that he's in prison in Cheyenne Mountain.
Okay.
The original. So it brings up some really tough questions. How does Elon's family, his wife in particular, I mean, it's not just
I
a
don't
talk over.
know.
It's not just a dinner conversation.
No,
You
I know, I know. Well, don't you wonder? I mean, it's not just, yes, and it's not just him. There's so many people that have
I know.
done this. I don't know what
Vance.
happens in the
Vance. I'm not sure who Vance is. Vice President.
Don't know. I mean,
I'm
everything.
not going to worry about it.
Yeah,
not
no.
going to worry about
No,
it.
yeah.
Okay. We have the exchange traded funds coming up. Now, if you look back at the last 2 months, you would see that there was an Ethereum fever, an Ethereum phenomenon. It went up about 120%. It has relaxed since June. June, July, August, it went up over 100%. It was like, oh gosh, what's his name? Rob Cunningham, former Morgan Stanley, had a great metaphor. He said, Wall Street fell in love with Ethereum. They regarded it as the shiny object.
Yeah, the shiny
I
new
love
object.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. They didn't investigate what is Ethereum.
Right.
They just thought, if we buy Ethereum, we can get some stable coins. And we can convert a lot of our assets under management in Wall Street in the hundreds of billions. And that's what's happening. Hundreds of billions are being tokenized. And Ethereum was a beneficiary of a lot of that. Now, here comes the spillover effect. We had a spillover effect a year ago with Bitcoin. It went up a lot and it took some profits and it spilled over into the little ones, the altcoins like XRP. XRP went up fivefold. Fivefold. Okay, Jay Claver put it so well. A year ago, for several months, nobody wanted XRP. The volume was low. It was stuck at 50 cents. Nobody really wanted it. It went up fivefold. So a lot of people thought I missed it. So right now there's the FOMO effect. I got to admit that I didn't know what FOMO was until recently. Fear of missing out,
Mm-hmm.
FOMO.
Mm-hmm.
Now I think some of the demand for XRP, where it's gone, pretty flat for 3 months or so, 4 months, pretty flat at $3. It's like dead in the water flat.
Someone was
Not
saying, that
not dead. Not dead.
no, I heard, who was saying, some commentator was saying that it had hit its peak and it's not going anywhere and this is the end
Oh,
and the whole,
some probably Bitcoin fool.
maybe
Yeah.
so.
And they made a point that when you do a transfer, you'll transfer funds from the one end to the other end, and then you won't need the XRP anymore. So the demand will go away. What a stupid comment. Okay, so A and B, when they do a transfer, they're never going to do more transfers, and they're not going to have an increase in their volume monthly. Oh, what a stupid comment.
Yeah,
Okay,
that, I don't, I'm not
XRP is
sure.
going to be accumulated because the volume is going to grow hundreds fold, hundreds, maybe 1,000 fold. The volume of XRP transfers. This is going to be, I'm calling it a financial revolution. It's a peaceful revolution without shots. There's going to be a lot of competition. There's another big organization. It's BlackRock. Okay, I saw an
Right.
interview. This is about 3 weeks ago. And it was a panel, and three or four of them were, very friendly to XRP and very vocal about what they're doing and explaining all the ins and outs. And it was all really good, happy stuff. And Larry Fink of BlackRock was there. And they said, Larry, why don't you tell us what your plans are regarding ETFs with XRP? And he said, I can't talk about that. And they said, what? What do you mean? You're a $10 trillion organization, financial firm. You must be planning like 3 or 4 ETFs with different themes. And he said, I'm not at liberty to talk about it. Non-disclosure agreement, that's what became the discussion points. And Fink didn't join that part of the discussion. They're under non-disclosure agreement, and so are dozens of other large financial firms. They're not permitted to talk about it. And the reason is simple, really simple, and it's not pleasant. The big financial firms, including BlackRock, want to accumulate XRP without you knowing about it because they don't want you competing with them.
Yeah.
The retail is waiting. This is going to be a very questionable, debatable point that comes next. They're waiting for the ETFs. Now, I cited Fidelity and Templeton and Canary Capital and a few others, Lucurium, and I can't think of the name. It had an EU and IUM at the end. Anyway, I can't think of the name. These are unusual names. They're not household names yet.
But
Okay,
they're all on board
they're on board.
and they're
They've got
big.
they got applications. Okay, they got applications. And here's the debatable point. If there are 15 financial firms plus several who have non-disclosure, let's just say there are 25 that are going to be making the ETFs, exchange traded funds, which you can invest in your stock market account, not your coin exchange account. It's going to cross the bridge from the coin exchanges to the stock market. And there are hundreds of thousands of investors waiting to invest in XRP. Here's the debatable point. Let's just say Canary Capital. Let's just say Fidelity. Are they accumulating XRP now so that when it's finally released and they have to do a quantum jump, a gap up to say $8, Fidelity will benefit from that?
Yeah, for sure
Because
they're accumulating now. What, wouldn't you be?
well, yeah. Or will they all wait like in the Kentucky Derby for the gate to open and then they all bid it up to 8? Okay, my theory is that there's nowhere near enough supply for all of them. So they're going to be buying as much as they can
Hmm.
in the shadows now.
Hmm.
And it's going to be about 10% or less of what's going to be needed. So they're not going to prevent the gap up. We're going to gap up to something like 7 or 8. I'm not going to bet my reputation on it, but all the indicators seem to be this. And there's a guy named McClurg. He's the CEO of Canary Capital, just a little boutique. And he's saying, JP Morgan and Standard Chartered came out with their estimates of XRP ETFs, just XRP, not Ethereum. The Ethereum ETF's already been a success. The Bitcoin ETF a year ago was already a gigantic success. Now we're waiting for the altcoins, the altcoins. And Canary Capital CEO said that the two big banks estimated that just the ETFs for XRP by the end of the year will be 5 to 8 billion. And McClurg at Canary Capital said, I got news for you. We're 2 times subscribed of what we had planned. And I think from what I'm hearing across the board with my, colleagues out there, it's going to be more like 15 billion, which means we're probably, if it all happens, we're probably going to, based on the market cap multiplier effect, and because of the liquidity and the float is a lot tighter than a lot of people realize. There are a lot of people who are not going to sell at 5. They're not going to sell at 8. They're not going to sell at 10. I'm not. I don't know anybody who is. So if we get to 15 billion, it's going to be hard to keep XRP under $20. And it's free now. So
And the ETFs, I mean, we should get the clearance on that soon, next month, I think we're hoping for, right?
September 19th is when the decisions start rolling out. And that's only 8 days away.
Yeah.
And they're very likely to say, well, we're going to make some decisions. They're not going to say it this way. I'll interpret for you. We're going to make some decisions on approvals for our best friends, like Fidelity, like Templeton,
sure.
and the little ones, the boutiques, they're going to come up with bullshit reasons because you're so small and we can't guarantee the security and all the different, what do you call it? I'm sorry. I'm getting carried away with my mannerism. We can't guarantee all the liquidity. The liquidity. You might not be able to handle all this and you're not really experienced. So we're going to delay you until November.
Till our buddies are all
So our buddies are all padded with their big profits. And you're going to be bidding up what they already bought. Okay, this is going to be a cascade up. And I don't think it's going to be 2 or 3 gaps up. I think it's going to be 5 to 7 gaps up. And during all this, you're going to have these nations coming on board. Already South Korea's favorite transfer internationally is XRP. Japan's going to be all over it. What was the other nation? India, I think, is all over it. UAE is all over it. I just talked with an Arab guy. It was a black swan capitalist. He's half Saudi, and he said, I have information for you. UAE is using it just across all of retail now. I said, are they using it at the corporate level, like for, say, a cement contractor or a steel contractor in a construction of a building? He said, I don't know yet. I don't know, but I know that it's really broad across retail. XRP settlement. It's not just, he said, not just utility bills anymore. Oh, no. Electricity, water. Okay, water is big there.
When we were talking about this a year ago, how it was utility bills there, and here we are now. And we haven't even touched on real estate.
Yeah, I know. But in UAE, it's all through retail, which means commercial centers, the malls, retail, purchases of goods, car parts, retail. Yeah. We haven't touched on real estate, and we haven't touched on derivatives.
Right.
Derivatives could be the $1,000 guarantee for XRP. The DTCC, Depository Trust Clearing Corp, they're already cozy with Ripple. The property market with all the titles, they're tokenizing right now in the billions. What we've got, Carrie, and this is not new to you, but it's new to a lot of people out there. The entire financial system is getting tokenized.
Yeah.
And we're okay. I got excited with my groan wow with NASDAQ,
Yeah, that was just unbelievable.
50 trillion a year. What about the New York Stock Exchange? Are they going to be relegated to the backwater
One
with their
wonders.
their stupid shit open outcry? Oh my God. And 3-day settlement? That way they can do some really effective kiting of your dollars.
Right. They need those
Oh
three
my
days.
gosh.
You
Okay.
know, Crypto Sensei also was pointing out regarding well, we haven't talked about Ripple's banking license. I
Oh
imagine you were going to
boy.
get to that.
That's another one.
Because
Um,
he was talking about, I'll just pop this in there, that, when you see these guys at meetings, the head, you see Garlinghouse and you see the head, JP Morgan, whatever, the guy from BlackRock, but you don't see,
Fink, Larry Fink.
thank you, but you don't see like Michael Saylor. You don't
I,
see,
I'm not sure who Michael Saylor is. I hear the name a lot.
that's Bitcoin. That's
Oh, the Bitcoin guy.
MicroStrategy. Yeah,
Okay.
you don't see
Um,
him there.
well, okay, this is going to be a very interesting battle. Okay, remember I said there are going to be several gap up, several events to gap up. The Ripple Bank is just one of them. I mentioned several. I didn't mention the Ripple Bank. I'm glad you mentioned it because we got two. There's a group. It's called the Bank. Oh, Bank Licensing Institute,
I
BLI,
don't know.
BCI. I can't remember the. Anyway, it's the biggest Wall Street bank. It's three letters. It's got a B and a C in it. That's all I remember.
Okay,
Sorry.
good enough.
Sorry. All right. Well, the Wall Street banking group, they're trying to fight the license for Ripple.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's where it gets dicey. Bank of New York Mellon is in that group. So is Bank of America in that group. Each one, the guy's name is Moynihan from Bank of America. I can't remember the guy at Bank of New York Mellon. Each one has said we got $20 trillion at least that we want to tokenize from our assets under management. And our favorite is RLUSD out of Ripple, which will guarantee trading activity of their assets. Like somebody owns a big stock and bond account, but they've also got property and it's all managed and they got income from the property. They might own a share of a shopping mall. That's how it works with assets under management in the billions.
And this could,
But
for a while there, we were thinking B of A might be getting into trouble because of shorting silver, but now they're jumping onto XRP, so that changes their fate, wouldn't you say?
I, I don't know. I think they're still in trouble with silver in a
Uh,
big way, and
okay.
I don't know how they're going to get bailed out of that.
Hmm.
But my point here
Yeah,
is
go
that
ahead.
Bank of New York Mellon and BOA are in the bank group fighting the license, but those two banks want to invest in the Ripple ecosystem.
Hmm. Hmm.
So there's not unanimity in this bank group that's opposing. This is not a united front against the Ripple Bank license. And if and when they get the Ripple Bank license, I'm expecting there are going to be 3 or 4 other applicants for banking licenses. This is not going to be unique to Ripple. They're going to have others.
I think they'll jump on board, yeah.
Oh, I don't even know. I mean, what is the company? Cardano. They might apply for a banking license.
Hmm.
Solana, they might apply for a banking license. Okay, this is Stellar. They might apply for a banking license. And we haven't even talked about silver backing XLM for Stellar and gold backing XRP for Ripple. We haven't even talked about that's been out of the discussion. That could be another quantum jump up, gap up. I think we're going to gap up to 7 or 8. Then we're going to gap up to 22. Then we're going to gap up to 65. Then we're going to gap up to 120. We might do some gaps that follow Fibonacci.
Well, it's
I just,
certainly, it's,
I just had to throw that in.
it might, maybe we'll finally get our Fibonacci. It's moving fast, though. It's so fast. What you're talking about could happen really, really fast. A lot of times people, their first question is when, what, how much, when? And of
Yeah.
course, that's the hardest thing to answer, but this is moving fast.
Okay. Bitcoin. I had a buddy. He was in my colleague group for a while, but he went to law school and he dropped out. He was a good guy. He visited me. He stayed with me for a week. We had a lot of fun here. We went on the canopy tour, which is the zip line, the high
Oh, yeah.
altitude zip line. It's tremendous fun. Um, anyway, back then he invested in Bitcoin. He told me a bunch about it. For me, it was like an introduction. I thought, well, I don't understand the smart contract. He said, well, look into it. I said, okay, I will someday. And he was investing in Bitcoin when it was $230. 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It took 15 years to get to 100,000. I think XRP is going to be on an accelerated timeline.
I do too.
It's not going to be 15 years. It might be 3 or 4.
Yeah.
And I think it could get into the thousands in
It's
three
not
or four.
breaking through the same wall that Bitcoin was breaking through because Bitcoin had to
Uh-uh.
break through everybody's consciousness. Well, at least those of us who were paying attention, but that's no longer necessary. And so
No.
many
You,
institutions and people are jumping on board. It's a whole other.
okay. I had a very interesting conversation with a guy. I think it probably not a good idea to mention his name, but he said, Jim, I have next week 2 consulting sessions with Wall Street venture capitalists. They want to learn about crypto, stable coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. They're paying me, he said. Okay, I'm backing your point.
Hmm.
Bitcoin had a lot of obstruction in
Hmm.
2010 to 2015.
Just the concept. I mean, still people don't understand it.
We have the opposite happening now.
Yeah.
We have Wall Street that fought it. They fought it with Gensler. Gensler's gone.
Chancellor's
And now
gone.
some dirty, ugly shit is coming out about Gensler right now. Now we got Paul Atkins,
Atkins,
and
right.
he's all on board. He is going to, I think, bring about faster. I would love to see him be egalitarian and not favor his big friends on that list of 20 ETFs.
Yeah,
I
we'll
would love to
see.
see him say, we're going to let you all out together. Just open the gate and you're all free. This is all fair. I don't think we're going to see that, but we might. It
We
would be
might.
great if we
It would
did.
be great, and there are a lot of people who would appreciate it on that list.
Okay. I think it's going to be just a few years, and it's not going to be full maturity in 3 or 4 years. No, no, no.
No.
We got a long way to go. I think Swift will achieve its 14% XRP share in probably maybe 2.5 years. And that's wild for the valuation
That's so
of XRP.
fast.
Wild.
Well, and it also points to how fast the world is changing. The financial system is going to be unrecognizable, don't you think? In a very short time. The
Not just the financial tokenization, it's going to be political elections. They're going to be on the blockchain.
right?
Um, they're already talking about certain states in 2026 for the midterm elections, and that's going to be a really difficult thing to pull off. But it'll happen in red states
Yeah.
because the blue states want the fraud and the corruption to continue in order to bring about more unwanted Democrat Party officials voted into office. I
Yeah.
think I got that out
I think
correctly.
you did too. I think yeah. Florida will be on the blockchain. Come on, Florida.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
There's so much more that could be mentioned. We talked about the on-demand
You,
liquidity.
you wanted to
I
talk
want
about the dollar too and global revolt, and we're short on time. How do you want to go about this?
um, XRP is like a destination for the transition away from the dollar. I don't want to say abandonment of the dollar. I
Mm-mm.
chose my words carefully. The transition away from the dollar, not exactly the sunset, a transition.
Hmm.
What is the vehicle? What is the medium for this transition? It's the stable coin. Okay, I believe the stable coins are going to be like 7 oceans of liquidity. And I think it's going to be in 6 months, we're going to have discussions about how the U.S. Treasury bond market has corrupted the stable coins.
I
You, you
always
know,
wonder about this. It's fiat, really? I mean,
the
uh,
U.S. Treasuries, they're toxic.
Yeah.
So you can't just say, well, we're going to make stable coins out of them and everything will be fine. No, you're going to
No.
you're going to intox, I don't, what's the word? Toxify.
Toxify.
You're going to toxify the stable coins. And, it's not just Treasury. You're going to have Euro bonds toxifying.
Hmm.
You're going to have UK gilts, the British equivalent of Treasuries. You're going to have Japanese government bonds. They're the same. Japanese government bonds are going to be put into stable coins. What they do is they use them as collateral in order to obtain a stable coin. Well, the collateral is damaged. What are
Exactly.
you going to do with all
I don't
them?
know. That's been a puzzle to me about stable coins all along.
I think eventually in the back rooms, they're going to be redeemed by gold. In the back rooms. They don't want us to know. We're plebeians. We're
Yes,
trash.
I know.
We're unwashed, swarthy plebeians.
Hmm.
They don't want us to know how they're going to rinse, wash, and clean the toxic bonds in the background used as collateral. I think they're going to do it with gold, and they're not going to talk about it.
Hmm.
Okay, if there's 100,000 tons of gold or 200,000, I've heard 200,000 that Trump is in control of.
Hmm.
What are they going to do with it? I think they're going to wash the stable coins in a manner we don't hear about. So the entire digital finance will not be corrupted. Okay, I get into discussions occasionally with consult clients and occasionally with just people that I know from the conferences and friends who they used to be a client and I gave them a free subscription and we keep in touch. They say things like these crypto coins, there's nothing behind them.
Yes, a lot of people
And
say that.
and, and they're dead wrong.
Yeah.
I correct them. I say, no, there's nothing behind Bitcoin.
Uh-huh.
There's no intellectual property, IP, no patents. Well, there are some, but there's not a gaggle of IP that supports the Bitcoin price. There's anti-dollar sentiment and motive behind Bitcoin.
History and, OG.
And there's also money laundering. I'll make a statement. I think the move from 40,000 to 100,000 was largely driven for Bitcoin with money laundering funds to avoid the dollar eyeballs, to avoid the dollar traffic cops,
Hmm.
to avoid the dollar ferrymen. So the dollar has an antithesis. It's Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin's going to go away. I think it's going to
No,
go up
I
to
don't either.
200,000. No
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
No problem. And they're going to do a halving again. Why don't they do a 1,000, not a halving, but do a 1,000 reduction? So Bitcoin would be 112 now, or 110 now, not 110,000 now. Why a half? Half's not going to solve anything.
I
It'll
guess
be
it's
60,000, 50. Doesn't solve anything.
in
Okay,
the code, right? It's coded in.
they're gonna have to change the code, and I think they'll be able to do it. It'll be a pain in the ass. I don't deal with Bitcoin. I accept Bitcoin, and I move it into XRP. Thank you very much. Okay, we're gonna have a spillover from Ethereum into XRP. You wanted to talk about the dollar. I did too. Okay, the dollar is in trouble. The dollar has as its basis, as its foundation, as its, let's just say, fenced pond. It's the U.S. Treasuries.
Hmm. There we are again.
The deficits are still big.
Yeah.
Okay, I keep hearing that June had a near zero deficit. Okay, but that's from tariff. It's not from economic activity.
Right.
Okay, we've got a very strange phenomenon coming with the dollar management. We now just showed that almost 1 million jobs were phony under the last, Biden year.
Yeah.
Biden, fake Biden, the guy was dead. Get a grip. My God, wake up.
I know.
Um, we have now no great economic momentum. We have gathering tariffs. That's not economic activity.
No, and
That's
dropping
not
the
tax. It's not tax revenue.
And dropping the
It's not.
interest rate is not economic activity.
It's going to spur some economic activity, but where's the job training? Where's the return
Yeah,
of
exactly.
mathematics as a requirement in high school, where they're more interested in gender pronouns than they are mathematics, for God's sake? This is really, really stupid shit that we're locked up in as a nation. Where's the reforms and guidance for the labor market where they're suffering from obesity and diabetes? Okay, we've got some real problems with our labor market. We're going to have to import. Trump is right. We're going to have to import some labor to get things moving. And, hey, Donald, your tariff problem has interfered with foreign direct investment by Japan. They responded with FDI with SoftBank, $100 billion, then another $100 billion. And now they've delayed because of the tariff. The tariffs are making two losers. It's artificial propping of our current account deficit, our trade deficit. It's not solving the economic problem. We're going to get a cut in interest rates. The big beneficiary is going to be Bitcoin, XRP,
I
and the other altcoins.
Yeah, I mean, I think the cut in interest rate's just not a good sign. It just signals, uh-oh.
And a lot of people I think are off the mark. They're saying the dollar's going to drop. No, all the other nations are cutting rates too. Okay, the dollar index is still 52% euro. The dollar has gone down in the USDX. Therefore, the euro has gone up. So now the Euro Central Bank is trying to bring it down, which will lift the dollar. You can't have the dollar collapse in the Forex market. That's just a wrong hypothesis. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
I got to mention just a quick story. It was 2008, and The Voice had a mentor, and it was the former CEO of a giant conglomerate in Germany. And I got into a debate with The Voice in the middle. I told the former CEO, he was like in his late 80s, 87 years old. I said, the Euro Central Bank is going to drop their interest rate to match the United States Fed because the euro is going to go up from their stubbornness not to do it. And back then, it was like 105, then 110, then 113. When it got to 150, the Euro Central Bank cut rates. And the former CEO said to The Voice, tell Jim Willie, nice argument. You got it right.
Good call.
I thought it was simple. If the euro is going up, French wine, Swiss cheese, and Swiss clocks and timepieces that are not all just cuckoo clocks, they're all become more expensive in the export market. Switzerland has a very balanced export market, much better than the United States.
Well, it's a very different proposition, right?
Yeah, there were some critics 10 years ago, and they said the United States' chief export are bombs and toxic bonds.
Mm-hmm.
That's not balance.
No, we got to get that turned around.
I know you got to go, top of the hour. Oh, no, that's wrong clock.
No, you're right. That's right.
Oh, it is top of the hour.
I do.
Okay, it is. Let me just say golden-jackass.com, www.golden-jackass.com. Thanks for having me on, and sign up for the newsletter.
Yeah.
If you don't like newsletters, you don't want to read, sign up anyway, support me, and read just 2 or 3 chapters that you like. I cover about 6 or 7 different chapter areas per month. I posted on, it was the last day of August, it got posted for the August report. I'm having long XRP chapters, and I'm not apologizing for it. This is a financial revolution,
a
gigantic paradigm shift, and we're going to see, I think, 100-fold gains, 100x gains in the number of altcoins that are going to happen in just a couple years. Not 100%, 100-fold.
Yes.
10,000%. We're going to see it in a number, and it's going to be in a time warp. You're going to wonder, how'd that happen?
Yes, exactly. It's very exciting. It's a very exciting time.
It was $7. It It was $7 just a month ago. Now it's 37. What the
Mhm.
hell? Okay.
Mhm.
5X.
Mhm.
We're going to see it all over the place. So get on board so that you can retire reasonably young. I can't retire young. I'm already 73. Okay. www.golden-jackass.com. There's a donation button. If you like to follow the shows, even if they're 2 or 3 weeks old, you can support me with the donate button. I got several people who are doing it on a regular basis now, and they're really fine people, and I'm very grateful.
It's a
If
good
you're
way to do it. You can go to his website and you can see he'll list the most recent, a lot of the shows, the recent shows. So you can pick that from there. Do the donate button. I want to say donut button. Do the donate button.
I
And you can
also
get
do
access to the
consults.
live shows. And he does
The
consults. As I
consult.
said at the beginning of this show, you can push the consult button, schedule a consult, talk to Jim one-on-one, get some help
If
if you want some more info about how to do the XRP thing. And really those long chapters on XRP, we can only cover so much in a show like this. But he covers a lot in the newsletter. For those of
Very
you who want to
interesting.
get it, it truly is. These are amazing times. They're kind of frightening times because they're moving so fast. So you really have to have a courageous heart to be here
One
now with this,
one
with what's
one
going
big
on.
question that people ask is why will this become universally accepted and adopted and integrated, the digital finance? Because the big banks want to reduce their transfer costs by 90 to 95%.
Oh, it's
They want
huge.
lower costs.
Yeah,
And the people, the little people, the plebeians, we want to reduce fraud. And that's what the blockchain does. When they say it's on the chain, it
right?
means the transactions are visible on the
Yep,
blockchain, and very difficult for JP Morgan to do duplicate bond serial numbers
that's right.
and pocket $1 trillion in a 10-year period
Yep.
in criminal fraud.
It's on a public ledger. That's all about. So really, really amazing times. And Jim's a really good person to follow while you're navigating your way through this, as we all navigate our way through trying to claim our freedom in a system designed to enslave us. Not going to happen. So
And this
thank you.
is September 11th.
Today is September 11th, 2025. For today,
Okay.
yeah, we're
All right. Thanks
here.
for having me on.
Well, that was kind of a ragged finish, but you get the idea. I also wanted to invite you to give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment, share this, and this is free content for you all. I know some of Jim's fans absolutely can't stand it when I interview him because they think that I interrupt him, and my response to that is that I really don't care. And this is free content. If you really, really love Jim and want to see him interviewed the way you want to see him interviewed, you should start a podcast and invite him and interview him. Or better yet, hit his consult button and talk to him directly. Meanwhile, this content is free and I enjoy putting it together. And you're welcome. I'm Carrington McDuffie. This is Starseeds of Freedom.